This session is Leading Through Influence, and I have the pleasure of facilitating. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the CEO of Forbes, Sherry Phillips. Hi, Sherry.
Hi.
How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Good morning, everyone.
So nice to see you.
Great to see you.
So, as I said in the introduction, Forbes is an iconic publishing brand. We've been together over the last couple of days. The room is filled with entrepreneurs and executives. Maybe we could just set the stage a little bit by talking about Forbes, the brand, and kind of who your audience is and what is the work that you do.
Yes, thank you. So Forbes is a 108-year-old brand, so it's a little bit old, but it has always stood for championing success. And so we celebrate leaders, doers, and dreamers who aspire to achieve success. And as we all know, the past 3 days, 4 days was filled with just that, right? People from all different backgrounds that are trying to achieve success, and that looks different for every one of us. We have a different definition of that. But at Forbes, our audience comes from just that, all different sectors, all different audiences, but again, with that common goal of achieving success.
And as you think about how you champion entrepreneurs and you consider the platforms that you have, and I think you reach more than 150 million people each month through both the publication, but your website and your events and what have you. At the end of the day, somewhere in there, you're also a media company. And I was wondering, as you think about some of the challenges these days, how do you think about balancing kind of that temptation for clickbait versus, more in-depth coverage?
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, and we do reach our audiences through various platforms. Some are in live events, some are in our social channels, digital media, print, and it really is about trust as that through line. So how can we connect with our audiences in a way that they can see themselves on the cover of Forbes or in that conversation, whether they're in that in that article or not. So I think it is about trust and establishing that one-to-one relationship, no matter what format it's in.
It seems like there's always, though, this kind of competition for audience. And so from a Forbes standpoint, as the brand, how do you think about your brand and how do you continually reinforce that?
Well, I've been there for a big, part of the legacy of Forbes. I've been there almost 30 years, and it's changed obviously quite a bit, but we do like to say that we are a brand with heritage, but not a heritage brand. And I think that says a lot about the culture of Forbes, because at the end of the day, our company has and will always be made up of noble entrepreneurs. And so at any given moment, if we have a problem to solve, there are people within the organization, no matter what department they are in, that stand up, that raise their hand to solve a challenge or a problem, because they do have that entrepreneurial spirit, which is what we celebrate. So we celebrate that both internally and with the people that we cover.
So I have to pick up on this. So Forbes is 107 years old, and you're the first female CEO they've ever had.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I also know that you're a mother of 4 children.
I do have 4 children.
And so when you think about that culture that's within Forbes, can we talk about it as a business and you as a leader and what you think maybe you have brought to creating that or fostering or furthering that culture?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there is a lot of empathy with female leadership. And listen, I've had tremendous male leaders that are very empathetic as well. So I don't think it's just male or female. I do think it's an interesting time in media right now, although the landscape is really hard. Right now, there's about 7 media companies in New York that do all have female CEOs, including the New York Times, Forbes, Fortune. They were speaking here yesterday. I think it's Business Insider, Bloomberg. there's a few others, but there's a trend right now with female leaders in the media industry. So that's really dynamic and exciting to see. And I believe most of them are mothers as well. But I think there is a piece of it where you navigate certain problems and challenges. And of course, things come up in your family and, you have to navigate who's, all the pickups, all the drivers, all the, doctor's appointments, those things that you do as parents to show up. And then also how you show up for your colleagues. And that's a big piece of it. And I think as I, as a leader, show up for my colleagues and drive that down into the organization and that culture of feeling that, we want to be around for another 108 years. I don't think I'll be around for another 108, but at least that legacy of it is really important.
So good to hear you say this. I know we talked earlier that John Wren was here and he was talking about balance and kind of how do you kind of achieve both in the workplace and with your family. So it's interesting to hear kind of your approach to how you foster that within your own organization. And you took the words right out of my mouth because there are so many women leading these other companies. Are they experiencing the same thing? Do you think they're leading in the same way?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know some of these women really well, and they are tremendous leaders. They are really dear friends of mine. And I think there's this moment in media, and I think there's a moment in a lot of industries right now that are being disrupted where even though we might be competitors, we are behind closed doors, friends, sharing how we're navigating, what's working, what's not. And I think that's really important now more than ever to kind of pass the baton a little bit and collaborate versus compete. So not to say we don't want to be competitors.
I can validate your competitors, but I think it does take a lot of trust to be able to collaborate with people who are in similar businesses, particularly in an age where social media is so hyper dynamic. So maybe we can just touch on kind of social media. Young people, we're in a place where there are many people who are under 30, so maybe just talk a little bit about how social media is driving the work you do, but how you're leading within the organization and what there might be to take away for this community.
Yeah, I mean, social media, it's so fascinating for all of us here. And as we evolve and pivot into a social first brand and social led, and I know most people here, and certainly in tourism, that's the case as well, you really have to trust these young entrepreneurs and leaders. And that's the case whether you're, a major tech brand, whether you're in media, whether you're in entertainment, whether you're in tourism. And I think it is that trust of these young leaders to put social in their hands because they know it best. They know how to reach these audiences on those specific platforms to narrate and tell those stories. And where we might think we have all the wisdom and knowledge, I know I don't on social. And so it's freeing that next generation up to empower and really teach us.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute because you are a mother of 4. You do run a media empire. Personally, do you have an anecdote of how you've had to turn over your voice to one of these young people to drive it out through social media?
Yeah, I mean, God, I have so many, Kelly. I feel like I have one a day where someone's coming to me and showing me something where I had no idea something was happening on a social platform. I'm not on half of them. I have to admit and say that I, don't have the time or, it's just, so they are constantly teaching me. We had our Forbes Creator Summit. So we have a whole community based on creators and influencers that launched about 4 years ago. And there was a young woman there and she was a mother. She was in her mid-30s, had a home that was ruined in Hawaii, and was desperate to try to come to our event. And I think at first we didn't even approve her. She ends up getting on the list, coming to the event, and had a whole line of homeware and just stuff. She lives in Hawaii, so it was very kind of coastal living, and ended up meeting somebody from Walmart and doing $50 million worth of revenue within 1 year just from that introduction and just from attending our summit. So, but it's all through social media. So it's all through affiliate link, it's all through e-commerce. There's so many businesses out there that if you're creative and entrepreneurial and hardworking and know how to use social media on the platforms that are going to align with your business and your storytelling. You know, part of it is just how you're perceived and if they like you and they like the product you're selling. So we're happy to be that conduit, that distribution, even though we may not always understand what that entrepreneur is selling or their voice, but it's trusting that that they do.
So there's a lot of, I think as you've been here, you've sensed the energy that really is existing kind of in the progress that's being made, and you are a tremendous mentor. Maybe you can just talk a little bit for this audience that has a lot of SMEs in it. There are a lot of women in the business of travel and tourism. TOURISE seeks to try to kind of collaborate and break down silos. So kind of from that broad brushstroke of women, young people, SMEs, this is a travel and tourism community, you coming from media, and this being a first of its kind platform to try to bring all of these ideas together, and today being about action. Kind of how do you, what is your advice for that broad swath of people that are new and emerging?
I mean, really, I would say reach out to someone you admire. And it can be someone who's younger than you, older than you, someone who's in a different sector than yours that you really want to learn from. I even did that this year just because I have been at Forbes for 29 years. And so wanted to hear and connect from other people that were either in my industry, CEOs, or people outside the industry. And I was so surprised how many people said yes and were willing to take the phone call or meet with me. And also not discouraged by the ones who said, I don't have time right now, but, reach out to me in 6 months. But I think it's really interesting to get that cross-section of perspectives, but also people who may ask advice of you, is to really listen. And when you get in those moments, it's listening, that art of curiosity, where I could be learning from someone who's 24 or 25. My chief of staff is here. I learn from her every minute of the day. So I do have real examples every day. My children, I learn from them every day. So I think it's how do you just sit and listen? There's so much advice all around us that I don't think we're paying attention to. And if you're just quiet and you hear it, even just like the session that was earlier, it's there for us. And I think sometimes then the most important part is knowing when to put that into action when you really need it, right? Like, keep going. How do you execute? And then how do you kind of, stand on the shoulders of others? Because women want other women to succeed. That I know. And
so just to close out, I think Jen just did a terrific job of getting us all centered. So trust has been a through thread of this discussion, and I know it's a hallmark of your leadership, clearly with your editorial team, with your community. But when you're listening, when you take your own advice that you just gave, in a world where facts are fluid, what centers you around trust? What's your last piece of advice about embracing trust?
People. Whether they let you down or whether they don't, just trust people.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to leave us with? We're so delighted you're here. It's so impressive to have you leading this unbelievable organization. It's just a pleasure to have you.
Oh, I'm so honored. I'm just so impressed with what TOURISE has done in this year one. It's so beautifully done. There's so many hardworking people, both front of the house and behind the house. So congrats to everyone here, and you've done a great job as the host.
It's been great to have you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kelly.